With Arizona State being on the bye this week and getting some much-needed time to recover and get healthy, other teams around the Pac-12 are putting their conference championship hopes on the line. This weekend arguably marks the toughest slate of games across the Pac-12 this season, with primetime matchups across the board. The biggest of the bunch is number 8 Oregon versus number 7 Washington. Saturday, these two longtime foes meet in the biggest game in the history of the rivalry, as it is the first time in their 115 meetings that both teams have squared off ranked inside the top 10. Not only will the victor obtain supreme bragging rights, but also catapult their team into the thick of the college football playoff conversation. It is going to be a shootout between these two dynamic and explosive offenses headed by Heisman candidates. The other Pac-12 team in the top 10 will also be partaking in a rivalry affair of their own this weekend, as number 10 USC heads to South Bend to square off against number 21 Notre Dame. The Trojans have had to fight hard for their last two victories, winning by just a one-score margin against Colorado and Arizona. Meanwhile, the Fighting Irish have been effectively eliminated from the college football playoff contention after suffering their second loss of the season in humiliating fashion to top 15 Louisville. With Notre Dame's CFP hopes gone out the window, the Irish are jumping at the opportunity to alter their rival season. Given the forecast of rain and a high of 55, the Fighting Irish can rely on their star running back Audric Estime to weave through a USC run defense that ranks 11th in the Pac-12 and 90th in the FBS. Historically cold conditions have put the Trojans' lifeblood, Caleb Williams, at a disadvantage. The last two times Williams played in cold road conditions, he lost to Utah and barely escaped Corvallis with a W against Oregon State. Speaking of the Bees, reigning co-Pac-12 Coach of the Year Jonathan Smith has OSU in the mix for a Pac-12 championship. But they are going to have their work cut out for them this week against an even-matched UCLA squad that is coming off a win over the lone team the Beavers lost to, Washington State. Both teams have relied on their rush attack as their bread and butter on the offense. Yet with each supreme rush defense, they are going to have to improvise and rely on their quarterbacks to make plays downfield. Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week DJ Uiagalelei is coming off a career performance against Cal, in which he tied a career high in 5 touchdown passes and received a PFF passing grade of 93.5, the highest of his career. Bruins head coach Chip Kelly said earlier this week that DJU resembles that of former NFL MVP Cam Newton due to his 6'4", 250-pound frame completed by his dual-threat skill set. Kelly is dealing with challenges of his own, trying to formulate the next star of his electrifying offense. True freshman quarterback Dante Moore looked stellar through his first 3 games of his college tenure, with a completion percentage of around 60%, with only 1 interception and 3 sacks. Yet in conference play, the former 5-star has had his star power diluted after being sacked a combined 13 times while throwing 3 INTs and completing just 46% of his passes. There will certainly be pressure for Moore to perform under the bright lights in Corvallis, where only one quarterback has emerged victorious over the past 2 seasons, the aforementioned Caleb Williams, who resides just 12 miles down the road from UCLA. All in all, this weekend's matchups will serve as either propellers or setbacks for these teams in their chase toward becoming the final champion of the Conference of Champions.